Thumbnailing is used all the time in concept art. I do it almost every week, and I do concept thumbnailing and concept thumbnail sculpting. So I'm just going to show you how I use Nomad sometimes just to generate some shapes really quickly. What I'll do first of all is I'll show you something that I do in Procreate, then another program called Magma, and then I'll move into Nomad. So let's dive right in and have a quick look at Procreate. So thumbnailing is the ability to just draw black and white shapes or silhouettes, and the silhouettes would basically give us the idea or the shape of something that we want to design. And it might just be a suggestion, so it might just be a head, and it would suggest that that is that is the side of the head, and this guy's got a big nose, a big chin and horns, something like that. And the silhouette then eventually becomes a sketch, something like that. But we want to do a specific brief. So we've got a brief to design, let's say, a mech robot. So we want to do lots and lots of silhouettes to give us an idea of how the creature works. So here I am normally in Procreate, and this is what I would do if I was doing it in 2D. So rather than just drawing it from the side, so I've got my round brush, and I'll just make a new layer, and I will say, right, this is my robot from the side. There's a head, there's his abdomen, there's his hips, there's his thigh, leg comes back, and then these big walking clumping boots with some pistons on it, and he's got a backpack on, and he has got some pipes, and he's got this big arm that comes down here and a big gun on the front. Now, you can almost, if you unfocus your eyes, that already looks like, you can get a suggestion that that is going to be a robot, but it's just stuck on the side. It looks rubbish. It just doesn't give you any life. So we really need to be working on that, but in 3D. So let's hide that and make a new one. And then what we can do in Procreate is we'll put drawing guides on, and it's already set up here. So basically what I've done is edit drawing guide and gone perspective, and I've put 2 points in. I've put this one on this side and this one at this side, and that's it. I've done thickness maximum, opacity maximum, and I've made it red so I can see it on the white. And that now gives me a 3D grid. So if I draw the same thing, but I try and think that, well, it's in 3D, so his feet are going to be on the ground here, which means his legs will come up like this, and I'm following the perspective again, you can see here. That means his calves will come here, which means his thighs will come here. So this instantly looks like a more readable drawing. So it looks like it's in 3D. It looks like it's got depth in the scene because you're seeing the legs in perspective. The hips would be there. The abdomen would be somewhere like this. So bear with me now, because I'm going to do a couple of minutes of drawing on this. There's a head in there, which means his shoulder pads would be up like this, same on both sides, so it obscures his head a bit. His arms would come back like this, both sides, and then he's got a gun coming down here, and the arm here, and a gun coming down here. So what we're trying to do is suggest what this robot or this mech, how it's built, how it walks. So you're giving it all of these components, and it should read in just black and white. What does that actually mean? So to read means that it actually is telling you what it is. So it reads well means it looks good. To someone looking at it, does it look like you would want your design to look like? So can you tell that this is a mech just from the silhouette? Let's put some cannons on it up there. So we're not detailing it all. We're doing a couple of minutes of work, and we're getting something that's starting to look almost, you can almost tell what it is just at blinking, just at a glance. Unfocus your eyes now for me, and if it doesn't look good, if you can't see what you think it is, then that means the silhouette isn't reading, it's not working. So what we can do is we can fool the eye a little bit by putting detail in. So we can go and put in some harder edges here. You can do it with delete, so or erase, should I say. So you can do things like just remove bits that would be the paneling, and this looks good. I mean, people have been doing this for years as concepts. You'll see if you type in concept thumbnails or look at any student's work from the last 20 years, you'll see thumbnails in there. It's very, very common. So that arm's got a bit more detail, but now we can put pipes in. We can put more surface, visual interest around certain areas. We can put pistons in, like so. We can put more round shapes as if it's got some kind of coils, more pipes, and then do more things like scopes on the gun, or even like blades. You can even put like a blade there to make it look like it's got sharp bits. But that visual interest there, breaking up this silhouette, is what makes this read really well. And you can do tons and tons of these really, really quickly by drawing them like this. And if that one works, what we might want to do is go, there's number one, and we might want to say freeform it, put it up here, and we might want to say duplicate it, and maybe duplicate it again. And there's 3 designs that we can now work on, and we might want to say, right, now this next iteration has got a much bigger shoulder pad, bigger cannon, and maybe this arm is with, let's use something like freehand. Maybe this arm should have been bigger. So again, very, very standard way of working and how we make silhouettes. So that's great. I want to just quickly switch to a program called Magma and show you how that does this, but it actually helps you because it's got one tool in it. So we'll switch to that. It is free for the basic one, so it's a good one for you to try. So let's have a look at that before we jump back to Nomad. Okay, so this is Magma, and this one that we're looking at today is on the PC. It's let's call it a Photoshop clone. So it basically is a browser-based drawing app, and you can use it on anything, on your Mac, on your PC, on your iPad, pretty much anything you want. It has got some limitations so far. It's got some tools missing. Certainly smudge and blend is missing, which is a big problem for me, but there are tools in it that I can't get in other programs, and I really like them. So the one that the reason I wanted to show you is this tool over here. So this is called the lasso brush, and let me just get a new layer and make sure we're on black paint. And remember what we've done in our previous videos with or our earlier videos with Procreate. This is the same, but it's actually drawing a selection and then filling it. So I'm not drawing this, I'm not drawing, it's actually a selected shape, as you can see. And that means I can draw these shapes really quickly and get them filled as I'm drawing them. So if I wanted to do that gun at the back, I can fill it as I'm going along like that. So it really, I don't know why it's such a revolutionary way of doing it, but I just found, since I started using it, I found that because when I'm drawing shapes, what I tend to do is do a silhouette, with the selection tool, and then I will do selective fills or certain types of fills or gradients. Well, why not just get the selection done at the time that you're drawing the shape? So it works incredibly well for this kind of work. The stuff that we've just been talking about, the drawing thumbnails. This would be possibly one of my favorite ways of doing it in a 2D way. Obviously what we're going to look at next is we're going to look at getting this done in Nomad, which is what this video is about. But I like to show you new and innovative products, and Magma is definitely one of them. So you can go and get it. I'll put a link down below to get it. There's a free version with limited brushes, which is what I'm using here. Nothing that I'm paying for. Nothing that's nothing that's like a Photoshop cloud license. So if you're on a budget, this is the perfect tool for you. And don't forget there is always Critter as well, which is a similar similar to Photoshop as well. So there are many options for this. So let's switch back quickly to Procreate for a minute, and then we will switch to Nomad. So here we are still in Procreate and we're about to head to Nomad, but this is what I'm going to show you how to do in Nomad, and this is a great way of exploring shapes really quickly. We're back in Procreate because we've just rendered the silhouettes in black from 3D, but this is the same model just turn round and pose, and that's what I'm going to show you and how I use Nomad a lot. I do use ZBrush for this and I do use Blender for this, but having Nomad is another great way of adding another tool to your skill set really. So let's jump to Nomad and we'll have a look at this. So here we are in Nomad. I've just got the standard scene, a standard color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color to black and force paint it. I've got any of these matte caps will do, doesn't matter which one you use. If you don't have many matte caps, please feel free to go to our resource hub. They're all completely free and they're the ones that I've got here, and just grab them. It's all in the details down below. What we want to do now, let's just say we're going to make the gun or a part of a gun. So we want to add a box. Don't worry that it's not black yet, we can do that later on. Let's validate it and then scale it down. We've got the sphere still in the scene, but that doesn't matter. That's just, something for us to start with. And then we'll make it thinner, longer. I'll keep the scene hierarchy open because we're going to do lots of cloning. So clone that, bring it along quickly. Make sure perspective is off, go to the side, and then we'll go in with we'll use something, one of my favorite tools, as you probably know if you follow me a lot, is the trim. So we'll just trim like that, and then we'll use trim rectangle, trim that off, we'll trim up here. That's giving you some interesting shapes straight away. So back to this one, and we'll go clone this one. We'll move it down like so. Move it up like so, and then we'll clone that, put it along a little bit. You could use a repeater for this. There's no reason why you can't use any of the new features like clone along, basically it clones along a curve. There's loads of that kind of stuff that you can do. And let's duplicate that sphere. Again, I have left everything colored at the moment because I just want to play with it a little bit, and then I'll show you what we're doing. And then we'll just take one of these, clone that, and then bring it up. This is going to be the robot's arm, as you know. So the gun goes on an arm, and something like that. And there we go. So what I'll do now is I'll just select all of those and I'll join it and do force paint all. And as you can see already, that silhouette is reading as a gun and as an arm. And the big power with this is that you don't have to keep redrawing something, so you can have it in a particular way and then screenshot it or export it, and then keep doing it. So I do something like this, 4-finger tap, get rid of all the interface, and then I just screen print like so, boom, whatever. It's a great way to just build up shapes. You can, of course, use tools like move. So with the arm and things like that, you could, move them into the kind of shapes that you want. The good thing about this is you don't really care about the underlying topology. You're just after, does this read in 3D, and am I getting a really cool look in my silhouette? That is all I'm interested in. Don't forget you can go and use the curve tool for this as well. So sphere, come up to the topology, bring that down to almost no polygons, make it really low resolution. Come up and go add, and we'll call it curve. Move the curve up like so, and then increase the settings here. So you basically got a spline like this. You can take this sphere and either shrink it or grow it, whichever you want, like so. Just bring it down, and then just go back to the curve and just add some points in it there. So one there, and then this would be a pipe that we can use. It comes all the way down here, like so. Move it in, move that one in, move this one down, and then go fill, black, force paint all, and then back up to the top, and you can see there that's looking really, really good, just as one mechanical part, so just as the gun arm. And then the real benefit of this is, as I've said already, I think you can use this over and over again. So you're not drawing one bit in one, you know, you're not getting it right just in this perspective, and you know, you're basically throwing together shapes as fast as you can to give you the read of the image that you want. So let's have a look at one of these that's fully fleshed out. Okay, so this is the mech that I made. It is very, very rudimentary shapes. It's pretty much what I've just showed you. It's just one shape after another. And to prove that to you, I'll just put outline on. And you can see it's a box, a box, a box, a bit of a spline there, another box that's been chipped off. It's a cylinder. It's a chopped up cylinder. It's a chopped up sphere. There is nothing complex about this. If you can't do this, it means you haven't tried it. It's not complex at all. The complexity and the skill is knowing what you're designing. So you're using these rudimentary shapes to make up your character and to tell your audience what it is you're making. Now the big power in this is that you've got it all in a hierarchy. So I've thrown all these into one inside the other. So you're using one as a parent or a child of the other. So if I wanted to do different poses with this, what I can do is pick one part in the hierarchy. As you can see, right shoulder has got an arm, a cylinder below it. All of these parts are in this hierarchy, and you just drag them in. And that means now I can pose it. And if I compose it, let me turn off that outline for you. And if I compose it, that means I can then get a different shot and a different angle. So I might want to move this leg around like this. I might want to take this shoulder and scale that gun up and rotate it up. And then look at the read on that. This is primitives. You aren't spending any time on your modeling. What you're doing is you're making a shape and you're working that shape out. Let's have a look at what it looks like without having it completely black. So let's just go grey and force paint it if that's a bit lighter. There you go. I'll change the material. Let's have a look at a matte cap that shows it. Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, these are tubes. These are boxes. This is just a curved pipe that I showed you. This is a sphere that's mushed up. You know, you don't have to spend any time on this to make it look really, really cool. These cannons were just 2 cylinders, and 2 cylinders one way and 2 cylinders the other way. Don't get hung up on making this an accurate model. This kind of stuff is all about throwing shapes together, and Nomad is just the king of this. You know, it's just so good for doing this kind of work. What you do with it after that, you know, you can take this out to Blender, you can take it out to ZBrush, you can do all of the things that you might want to do at a later stage, and you can remodel it, you can retopologize it, do whatever. But the work is done, the design work is done way before that stage. Let me just select everything below it like that and go back to black, force paint all, because that is reading really, really well as a mech. And that's really what I was after with this video, is to show you that you don't need to spend any huge amount of time on this. You don't have to draw it over and over again, because I could do this and then let me just move onto brush so I don't have the gizmo. I could go this one, screen grab, this one, screen grab, this one, screen grab, this one, screen grab, one from above, and you're seeing all these lovely angles. Now I have actually got a shadow in there, and all that is a sphere that's pulled around to the shape of the shadow, and that means you get a good fix on the ground. And you can use this for painting over, you can use it for the initial stages of exploration, you can use it for doing a full contact sheet, as we call it, where we get all of our ideas onto one sheet. It's so powerful if you understand how to make a silhouette look good like this. Here it is in my photo album for a second. So all of those that I just did are all there, and you can put them exactly as we did in Procreate, and they will look like that. Now this one, we took this forward and we fully brought that into a painted reality. I've shown this on my Twitter and Instagram this week, but it's still very, very rudimentary. You know, I'm trying to make it clear here. I'm not trying to say this is good modeling. We're not trying to do that. What we're trying to do is make this stuff look good as fast as we can. If we're going to combat AI, who's taking our jobs every day, every week and every day, you're going to have to build your skills up with this, which is you know, you're going to have to be able to make these kind of shapes and make these kind of things read really, really well as fast as you can. So let's keep building these real world skills, and let's keep pushing our skills in this kind of way. My job is helping you create in new and innovative ways, and you know, this is just one of 100 tips and tricks that I do every week in my job. So I hope it's some kind of use to you, seeing how I do these kind of things. So we're about to release a new creature course. So this is a Nomad course, and it's how to make something along the lines of this guy here. So this is the Crab King, and in the course I'll go through all about how I make the design choices. Some of what I've just shown you today about how to do some initial sketching and initial silhouettes is in there as well, and then how to turn that into a fully realized model that you can then take into other programs and work with. Most of this kind of stuff on this course is very much around the concept end, so this is very much about designing these kind of things rather than making production finished models, which is, you know, it's a very, very different skill set. But in this course you'll learn all about how I do this kind of project and how I fitted Nomad into my workflow alongside ZBrush, Blender, Cinema 4D and Maya. It's a great course for someone who isn't a beginner, so you need to know how to use ZBrush. That's not quite true. You need to know how to use Nomad, and it would be, it'd be suitable for someone who just wants to take their skills a little bit further into creature design. I hope you're enjoying these videos, and if you are, please give us a thumbs up, as it does help us to get in front of other people who might like this kind of content. And if you're liking the video enough to give it a like, well, why not subscribe to the channel? We try and help people create things in new and innovative ways, and hopefully we can help you. Have a great week.